So welcome. So here's the little Fiat Panda, and it has some holes, rust holes. This is on the right rear side of the car, and then on the front fender we have some bubbling, which have been touched up, but actually they're holes, both of them. So we have to cut those out. So welcome to this video. I'm a little bit behind on working on a client car. And this car behind me is a little Fiat Panda. The owner has just bought it, so she asked me to check it out and give it a little tune up and look at the rust and the situation there. It's in pretty okay condition. Of course, there's some spots that are have become holes once you touch them, some bubbly bits. So here it is. It's a little Fiat Panda. I believe it's 2003, so 22 years old. There have been a lot of repairs of the door sills before she bought it. I'm just taking out these bubbly pieces here, and this because there's no inner fender to keep the mud from going all the way here in this edge, and then it builds up. As you can see, there's not much room between the structure of the car and the outside fender, and there's mud building up, and of course that stays there for 20 years with wet, and you will have some rust building, and therefore the metal gets thinner and thinner until it starts to bubble. So I've taken these pieces out. We're going to weld them back in. On the rest, the car is pretty okay. We have some here, but this is more from the seam. So we're gonna make this, clean this up and paint it again. And on the back, I did find some issues there. With this fender, it's the same thing. There was some bubbling up, and the inner fender hits the outer fender. And again, you have a little narrow edge there where there's water buildup from the inside, from condensation running down, can't go anywhere, and then it starts to rust. So it's not that bad. Below here, this is all, there's some rust, but it's not really bad. So we're gonna put a nice thick coat of wax seal over that. That's it for this side. And then I was quite surprised that there's nothing on the back door lid. It's really, the openings are clear. There hasn't been any moisture buildup, and this is all in good condition. For a Fiat and for 21 years old, that is fine. Now we do have some issue here on the edge where that's the fender, the back, the rear fender, and this is the bottom of the luggage tray, I guess, from the car. And there's some rust there, and this goes straight to the outside. I'll show you on the other side. Here we can see some light shining through, and there's this was a pretty thick coating they put on this, a pretty sticky coating, but eventually water will get in and will start rusting. So we're gonna weld a piece of metal in here, connecting these two again, and then we're gonna coat the whole thing in a nice thick wax layer. So we'll keep it from rusting for the next, 5-6 years, and then we'll do it intermediate. When she comes back, we'll do it again. We'll check it. I did see that they had some pieces welded in. You can see a weld seam here. So they have opened this, or these sills on both ends, both sides, and they put a lot of metal already, replaced a lot of metal. Sorry, that's okay. And here we had another one, same issue here. You can see the rust on the inner fender. The outer fender is very close to it, so it is rusty. It's not nice, but I can't really, if you really want to do this all the way through, you would have to take apart the whole car. We're not going to do that. We're going to stop the rust because we're going to close the oxygen from getting there by putting a lot of wax seal on the inside. So this will be filled up with wax seal everywhere. and it will, at least it will slow it down from rusting through for the coming years. So that's in short, and we'll continue on this little car. So we're using the old trusted method of a dirty finger and a white paper to make a template for the pieces to be cut, so that I can weld them in. And then it's off to the steel table with the angle grinder. Cut some pieces. Little adjustment, a few adjustments, but that does look like it will work. Put some weld primer on. I don't know if it's going to stay on since I'm going to put in a lot of heat, but let's see. It can't hurt. Whatever stays will have a function, because you do see there's rust there in those seams as well. Oh, sorry. I will, and same goes for there, all the way back. Let's see, now you can see it. I will be spraying that with wax, but wax will seal it off from the oxygen and therefore will stop the rust, at least for the time being. Let's do some welding. Not the best of welding, but then again, it's very thin plate, so you can't really do much better than that. And here we had some really thin pieces. Burnt some holes, had to fill them again. So we're going to sand it, and then we're going to put this back plate on there. Okay, so now it's sanded. It looks a little bit nicer. The creases are nice in line. So it's just making this cap, welding that on, and then sanding everything. We'll put some, we'll have to put some Bondo on it, and then we call it done for this side. The cap is back on. It fairly straight. We're gonna put some Bondo on and finish it off. I don't have the correct color of paint, so I might go out and try and get some. And yeah, because we can paint this in sections. There's a nice line here. This has already been painted once. It's a different shade of green and it's less shiny, and I still need to get that one out because there is some bubbling underneath as well. I don't think it's rusted through, but there definitely is some rust there. Okay, so let's continue. So we gave it a few coats of primer, edge primer, and it looking, yeah, except for that one mark here. Have to fill that one still. And there is a dent, slight dent here. But the rest looks almost ready for paint. Sand it down, block it, and then we can we can put some color on it. And then we still have to do this little hole in the back. And then we can go to the other side. But I think we'll do that another time. So, so one of the little tasks was that the braking pedal goes down too far before it actually starts to brake. And you can see, oh, I can see that the braking pedal is higher than your accelerator pedal, so that can be brought down. And I couldn't find any adjustment except for, I took the braking brake light switch out, and this plastic part can move up and down. I don't know how down, but up is actually, you move it up and it clicks, and it was flush with the yellow part in which the blue switch is. So I've moved it up, I guess 4 millimeters. That little space, it's half a finger, moved it up, which means that if I put it in now, the pedal will be down somewhat. And I think when looking at it, I can try and move it up somewhat more, because the pedal can go down to there. That's easier anyway with your foot going from the accelerator pedal to the braking pedal. So let's see if I can move it up a little bit more. Okay, so I did it with a socket. So the right socket, and push the holder down. And now we are, focus, hello. How do we get it to focus? Okay, anyway. So now this is the furthest down it can go. And we're gonna put it back in the holder and see what the brake pedal feels like. Here we go. So now, oh, hold on. I just see it move up again. So that would mean that the switch is broken because, see that? Okay, there is the issue. So you can push it down, I guess. Yeah, and then it just comes up again. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. Okay, so here's my little botch job that I did. I put a little plastic pipe over it, so if it's pushing now, it's not pushing on the inside, it's pushing, focus, it's pushing on the fixture. Now that should work. I hope only that my switch is still working, then otherwise I have to get some more material off. We'll see what works. So here we have it installed now. You see the little plastic holder, and the pedal is way more up. Same level as the accelerator pedal, and it feels hard. I hope it's not too hard. But we'll test it when test driving the car. That's one little job done, but the rust is far from done. So we'll call it a day and start again tomorrow. Have dinner on a restaurant. Oh, we can't have that music though.
Oops.
That's all
Copyrighted.
So after a day of working on a Fiat Panda, we're going out to dinner at a restaurant on the dikes. There's a little dike road towards Germany, and there's a lovely little restaurant there. Wonderful in the summer, but it's great in the winter as well. They have good food, so we're gonna get some dinner there, and a nice drive getting there. Mos will be helping tomorrow in the load, so she will be.
Yep.
Oh.
That's a teacher from my school.
Who is it?
Yeah. Our winter.
No.
Is it December, January, February?
Yep. Then we will get back on the Beetle. There's a lot to do on the Beetle.
Yep.
We have the new axles with new ball joints.
Food.
What? A bit of food, got a burger and fish of the day.
Filming.
So we're just checking the brakes. The rear brakes were very worn. These calipers seem, well, not seem, they work. But the pads, they have enough meat, but I don't really trust them. They're very brittle. And if you look at this, they're all like very rough, and the disc is also not very clean, and it's a bit of bluish. I wonder, and the whole mechanism, this is a floating caliper, so it's one caliper, two pads, and because it can move left and right, it will always put equal force on each pad left and right. And these are the sliding pieces that go in there. And yeah, it's all pitted, rusted. I don't like it. If I'm gonna do the rear brakes anyway,
Might as well.
yeah, I might as well do the front brakes as well. I'll advise her to do the front discs as well. Luckily, there are no broken or ripped CV joint covers, at least not on this side, and the rest seems to be okay. So these are the good, so we got some on there. Oops. You can see there's a notch. See that? Notch.
Yep.
And there is a little pin or clip that you push in so they can't get out. With it. We put the clip in if we can find the clippy thing. Well, with the power tool, you don't feel that it's not going in correctly, and you will cross thread your
Right.
your system.
Hello.
The whole week. Remember what next?
Take the pins out.
Yep, exactly. Reverse of the installation. Okay, Mos. So your first little tune-up of the car, of this little car. So we need to take the air filter box off. Okay, good. Okay, the filter itself. See, the air comes in there, goes through here, goes through the filter to the engine, into the engine, and into the combustion chamber. And this is still pretty okay.
What is that? Stick.
Yeah, it's where they glued the paper shut. 10mm to get these off, and then normally yeah, they're over there. You can find a socket there as well, Mos.
Needs to be smaller.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's way too big.
Hell bells. Does this one work? This is a smaller one, but oh, but I don't have that many. Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Wait. Did you not film this?
What? Oh, you're trying to find out which one is loose, which side? Yeah, you have to think backwards.
Stop. You're
No,
talking
I
through
have the
my
same
thinking
thing.
process.
Okay, fine.
Wait. Oh,
Yeah. Look, it's funny. It's a very small, a big one, and this is a very small one. But this is a Bosch, so you would expect this one to be a nice one. Now, you always check when you're changing a filter like this. You check if the threads are correct, and they seem to be correct. You think? Should be fine, shouldn't it? Now we put a little bit of oil there, and then this one can be put on, can be put back. And pouring wash, you always hold the can on its side. Get more control that way. The engine, we can measure it again. We can put that back on. Put this on here. So what I've done is put a patch in this little hole. This still has to be, I bondoed it a little bit, so it has to be finished before it can be painted. I did, let's get it go off. You see the dripping is all the wax that I did in between the two panels. And because I'm heating up the paint to dry, you see the drips hanging. The wax is really going everywhere. Starting to come out, but that is good. That means there's enough in there. And I did do this whole ridge with wax and under seal. I still have to weld there as well. I couldn't get to that. Didn't have the time for that. But at least it's for now. It's been soaking in wax, and yeah, I call it tactile. It's a sticky brownish stuff, also for hollow spaces, meant for hollow spaces. I've always used it, and it's more sticky. You can't get it off with a cleaner, so I like it better for the exposed areas to the outside. So I did the same thing here, all those, but I really want to clean them up when I get the car back. I'm going to clean that up more nicely and get more tactile under seal in there to really close it off. I did this little patch panel in here. Here is still a section that I want to put a strip in because it looks awful. And if you get your hands there washing the car, you will cut your hand. So for the rest, it's a lot of wax seal I did everywhere for it to stop the rust. So in the front we had these Also, these patch panels put in, they still have to be painted. I have to clean it up before I give the car back. It looks a little bit scruffy now, but well, the good thing is it won't rust. And the same thing I did, it's difficult to see, but I did here. Everywhere there's surface rust or visible rust, I put the undercoat in. And all the way here in the corners, I did a lot of extra under seal in there. Well, that's in short what we did. I think I spent 12 hours on the car. It always takes more time than you think. And on this side, we still have to do, there's a bubbly part here, so this will have to come out. This might have to be repaired. There's bubbly here. It's always this panel here, where the salt, the sand, the mud builds up, because there's no inner fender in these cars. But for the rest, it's in a pretty solid state. So we're ending the Fiat. The car is now sort of done for what I could do in this time. It took me about 12 hours spent on the car. A lot of rust protection we did. Welded in a lot of patch panels, but still need to put in some more patch panels. And the surface, I'd like to do the brakes. They're not dangerous at this point, but the brakes in the rear are kind of getting thin. She's not driving a lot with this car. It's a second car or third car to the family, so it can wait a little bit. But I'd like to do the rear and the front brakes as well. And then we have to look at the tires and really do some rust proofing, real rust proofing in depth, and put under seal on. And then this car is done. The service we did was the spark plugs and oil, which most did. New oil filter, fresh oil. The brake fluid I topped up. There was the float was detached from the little pin that sets the alarm light for the brake level. So that was what was wrong. The brake level wasn't. I think I didn't even tell you there was a brake light on the dashboard. Anyway, that's fixed. There's a lot of little other things are fixed that weren't correctly placed or put together. But we'll spend more time on it when the next time when the car comes here to be serviced, and I will paint the other spots that still have to be painted and make it look nice again. And I clear coat it as well. I ordered the spray can on with the correct color, and I ordered a clear coat so we can make it look nice and shiny again. So thanks for watching. See you next time.